hit the record button. I put it on pause. Sorry, guys. So every single day, what are we doing to nurture ourselves, mind, body, and spirit? And when we talk about recharging, the first thing people think about also, other than their gadgets, is doing things to perform self-care, but for the external portion of themselves. Maybe they say, hey, I went and got a massage. Hey, I went and I got my nails done. I got my hair done. I went to the spa and got pampered. But what about the internal side? Everything starts from the inside. So tonight, our expert guests are going to be pouring into you to talk to you about just that topic, the internal recharge. And I'm going to tell you about our first guest, Dr. Douglas Miller. He's been serving the Baltimore Ravens since 1996. He provides chiropractic health services to the players at home and away games, as well as throughout the year at their training facility at Under Armour. He maintains a full-time chiropractic and wellness practice in Catonsville, Maryland, which focuses on pain relief, sports injuries, nutrition, and holistic-based healing. Dr. Miller is also an author, which I am reading his bio from the back of his book, Back to Life, if you can see that. And it's talking about discovering the natural healing of chiropractics. So Dr. Miller is definitely well respected in my ranks anyway. And he is actually my chiropractor. So I trust him and trust my body in his hands. And if anybody who saw the all the needles that I posted in my neck, I got the dry needling done. I trusted Dr. Miller with my neck. And let me tell you, it truly works. So he definitely knows what he's doing. And he's definitely professional and experienced in what he does. So without further ado, I am going to have Dr. Douglas Miller pour into us and tell us how to get that internal recharge. We're going to have you unmute, Dr. Miller. You are muted.
Oh,
There you go.
okay. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here, and I'm really excited to be here. I do have a couple golden nuggets for you tonight. So as we talk about ways to internally recharge our body, I'd like to just take a look back as we progress through COVID, and we're getting to the back end of this, thank God, right? There's a couple things we really learned during COVID, and one relates to nutrition. So as you just mentioned, my background is in sports-based healthcare, wellness-based services, and nutrition plays a vital role in our health and well-being. And during COVID, there was a lot of press, a lot of media. This really isn't new, but it was publicized a lot more during COVID. And that's the role that vitamin D plays in our health. And I know we've talked about that in our office with most of our patients as well. So one thing I want all of you to do is to go have your blood level checked for vitamin D. We're going to talk a little bit about that. 30 years ago, when I was back in school studying and training, everything pertaining to vitamin D had to do with our bone health. We need to have adequate amounts of vitamin D in our blood to prevent loss of minerals, which leads to osteoporosis. And that's really where the data stood for many, many, many years. But lately, and especially during COVID, vitamin D was actually even used as a treatment for COVID. We're not going to talk too much about that because the data is a little bit unclear, but there's much, much more data on the benefits of vitamin D in supporting our immune system, in modulating the immune system, in helping the immune system work well. Also, during COVID, a lot of people were isolated. They became depressed, and vitamin D plays a critical role in our moods. But the challenge is current laboratory testing values are insufficient. So if you're a number person, think of the number 30, because when you have a blood test, most physicians will tell you that if your blood level is 30 or above, you're fine. Well, that's fine for bone health because those numbers haven't changed since 1970. But to affect your mental health and to affect your immune system, you need to raise your vitamin D level to the range of 50 to 70. And the only possible way that that's going to happen is by taking a supplement of vitamin D. And you have to become a savvy consumer as well. You have to look on labels. You have to make sure you're buying vitamin D3, not just vitamin D, but it needs to say vitamin D3. So patients often ask, how much do I take, Dr. Miller? And the answer is, well, you know what? We really don't know until we have your lab test. So all of you, go get your lab test. It's cheap, it's inexpensive. LabCorp Quest can run that. If you need some help, reach out to our office. It's not an expensive test. But once we know what your lab value is, then we know what to dose you to raise your vitamin D level up in the range of 50 to 70, because that's where the magic happens. That's when the immune system is working. That's when the role of this nutrient is playing a role in modulating the immune response, in helping the immune system fight off viruses. And COVID is a respiratory virus. And there's adequate evidence that if you maintain your vitamin D level in the range of 50 to 70, you really can ward off respiratory viruses as well. So all of you, go get your vitamin D3 level checked. Good dietary sources of vitamin D really hasn't changed. Oily fish, red meats, liver, and eggs are really good dietary sources. But again, none of that will raise your level to where it really needs to be. So if you're savvy about your health, many of our patients are, get your D3 level checked. Also, during COVID, and this goes on, many of us, again, were home. We were probably not eating a great diet. We probably were not exercising like we used to. So what tends to happen then is we've had weight gain. And I'm sure many people, probably all of us included, gained a few pounds during COVID. And even before COVID, we had a crisis in this country with obesity. Okay, 2/3 of Americans are overweight, 2/3, and one third is obese. Obesity is really based upon your BMI level, which is a ratio of your height and your weight. Ideally, in the United States, we'd like to see a healthy BMI in the range of 19 to 24. That's hard to get to. The range of 25 to 29 is the overweight range. 30 and above is where obesity sets in. And when you're 30 or above, you're really looking at facing chronic diseases like cardiovascular, stroke, diabetes, autoimmune. All of those are really inflammatory-based problems that come with carrying too much weight. So one of the things I'd like to do, instead of talking about a weight loss program, no one likes to talk about that, or counting calories, simply a great strategy, and it really goes back to what's called ancient healing. Ancient healing used to really what would rely on a concept called intermittent fasting. So the second golden nugget tonight, beyond raise your vitamin D level, is intermittent fasting. And no one likes to fast, but the best time to fast, guess what, is when you sleep. So ideally, intermittent fasting is giving your body a break from food. So if you're not doing any intermittent fasting now, what I'd like you to try to do is, after you have your dinner, do not eat again until another 14 hours. So ultimately, having 2 meals a day instead of 3 meals a day, you're combining your meals in a smaller gap of time, but you're giving your body a break overnight for about 14 to 16 hours. The benefits of that are immense. It can change how your hormones operate, specifically the hormones that regulate your metabolism. It can help you lose belly fat and weight. So incidentally, simply by intermittent fasting, the majority of people do lose weight. It can help reduce insulin resistance, which is what a type 2 diabetic is. They become resistant to this hormone. It reduces inflammation, and when we reduce inflammation, we lower the risk of cardiovascular, heart attacks, strokes, autoimmune disease, and even cancers. So intermittent fasting has been around for a long time. It's not a challenging concept. If you're not doing it right now, try it a couple nights a week. You don't have to dive into this full force. We like to teach our patients to intermittent fast 5 days in a row, Monday through Friday, take the weekends off, eat when you want. Not so much what you want, but eat when you want. But during the week, give yourself that 14 to 16 hour window from your dinner until your next meal the next day. That's where all the magic happens with your hormones and resetting or recharging your body. So again, go out there, get your vitamin D level checked. If you've gained a couple pounds, think about intermittent fasting, because you'll be surprised at what kind of energy you have, how you feel, and really how your body composition begins to change. So if anyone has any questions regarding this information, you can certainly reach out to me at Dr. Doug Miller at aligning.wellness.com. I hope there's a link to this at the end, but I'll be here for you. I certainly do respond. It may take a little bit of time, but I will get back to you. So thanks again for having me here. I look forward to hearing back from all of you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Miller. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I picked up some points, so I was writing my notes too. And I know some of this stuff, but it was super exciting to hear somebody else talk about it. And so vitamin D3. So I
Yes.
love the fact that you brought out about the vitamin D3. The level should be between 50 and 70. How, the only way you're going to know your levels is if you go get them checked. So it's a very inexpensive test, blood test. Get it when you're getting your physical. You can get your doctor to get that blood work added to your physical blood work, your annual blood work that you're getting anyway. It wards off respiratory viruses. And we know we're in the middle of a pandemic, so we need all the help we can get right now. That oily fish, the liver, eggs, red meat, those are ways that you can get some vitamin D, but it's just simply not enough. So we need to make sure we're knowing our levels and knowing if we need to take a supplement. Also, as far as the weight gain, yes, everybody got those Corona pounds on, that you loaded on the pounds during COVID. So, don't be in that weight range and that have your BMI where you're listed as obese, and you increase your chances of heart disease and stroke. So I always talk to my clients in all of my workshops, and I talk about the waist size. So that belly fat is the thing that's going to really, really predispose you to heart attacks and strokes. So ladies, if your waist size is greater than 35, men, if your waist size is greater than 40, you're directly predisposing yourself to heart attack and stroke. And if you already have some kind of family history, then you're doubling your chances of having a catastrophic health event. Intermittent fasting, I love it. I live by it. I was posting my journey with intermittent fasting and sugarless living, which I know Delayna will talk about in a little bit. But I lost 60 pounds just by doing intermittent fasting and cutting my sugar down. So those two things definitely will help. If you're someone who is diabetic, it definitely aids in insulin resistance. That belly fat goes down, your hormones change, like Dr. Miller talked about. So this was just absolutely a wealth of information that he provided. And we will type his contact information, aligning.wellness.com. That's correct, right, Dr. Miller?
That's correct. Thank you.
aligning.wellness.com. We'll put it in the comment section to make sure that everybody still has that information, so you can contact him. Also, contact him for your chiropractic needs. He's a beast. I said it. You got it from me first. I trust him. I trust my spine in his hands. And so check him out, aligning.wellness.com. Thank you again, Dr. Miller. I know you probably have to go because you have a hectic schedule. So thank you for giving us some of your time today. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me here. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We'll meet soon.
Let's recharge our health.
Yes, yes. So we're talking about an internal recharge for those who just tuned in. And we already got a bunch of juicy nuggets from Dr. Douglas Miller, talking about that vitamin D, talking about your managing your weight, making sure that you are doing intermittent fasting, maybe cutting down on how many meals you're eating a day can truly have an impact on your body. It adjusts your hormones and everything. And I know we're going to hear some more about maintaining a healthy weight and a healthy lifestyle internally from our next expert guest, Delayna Watkins. Let me tell you a little bit about Delayna. She's my girlfriend, first of all. That's the most important thing. But Delayna is a true wellness maven. She's been a nurse for many, many years. She has created the Sugarless Living Program. She is the CEO and founder of Women's Wellness Lounge. It's an intimate space where she provides health advocacy and lifestyle changing services for women so that they can be the best version of themselves. She's also an author, a speaker. She does it all, y'all. She's superwoman. But tonight she decided to put her cape down so that she could share some juicy nuggets with us. So if you don't have your pen and paper, now is the time to get your pen and paper. And without further ado, Delayna Watkins, take it away.
Thank you so much. Yes, get your pen and paper, ladies and gentlemen, because we are definitely going to go on the inside, because that's the acronym that I'm going to use to share some nuggets with you tonight, because Cherie is not only the recharge strategist, but that whole internal recharge. So Dr. Miller, he really laid the foundation and the segue and dropped all those juicy nuggets. I was over here like a bobblehead, like, yes, 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 that vitamin D3 and the various sources and those pandemic pounds and the quarantine 15, everything that you want to talk about, we all have experienced some type of shift in, our weight, even the way that we carried the weight. That we all somehow seem to have found during the pandemic. So I want to use the acronym INSIDE and just drop a few nuggets on you during my time with you tonight. And so the I stands for going inside. Being healthy is an inside job and it's internal. It's how we embrace our healthy journey. It's how we embrace what's going on. And you have to ask yourself the hard questions. And that starts with the neck up checkup. You really have to think about, what are you feeling in this moment? What is it that you know you need to do? And then what are you going to do for you? It's not for anyone else. It's not what you observed anyone else experiencing. It's what are you going to do for you? So that inside and that internal recharge is an inside job. And sometimes doing nothing is really doing something. And what I mean by that is you sometimes have to just sit still and really figure out what it is that you have to do for you. And so not just jump out there. We're always looking at, Instagram and Facebook and really thinking that we should get these instant results, because sometimes we may see things in our timeline, our friends, our family, our coworkers, our colleagues, having these various experiences that you may want to attain for yourself. And that requires you to sit still and do the work. So the I is the inside, is for you to sit and internally see where it is that you need to go. The N is going to be you looking at your nutrition. Now, this is where I thrive. This is what I like. Cherie talked about that sugarless living. So, and Dr. Miller laid the foundation when he was talking about the importance of food. Food is your fuel. It pretty much allows your body to either do, not do, resist, or fight back. So you've got to decide what type of fuel you're feeding your body. And the way in which I teach my clients is to think about crap and crow. And Cherie and I always talk about this when I say that the easiest way to remember this is to think of the crap. Crap is chemicals, refined, artificial, and processed foods. Those are the foods that you want to avoid. Those are the foods that are typically up and down the aisles of your grocery store and not along the periphery, where you will find those fresh vegetables and your, healthier foods, your fresh cut meats, your, eggs and fruits and vegetables. All of that is generally on the outer perimeter of your grocery store. And those bagged, boxed, and canned foods are typically up and down the aisles. Those foods that have you doing the front label shopping, it says, pick me, because I have no sugar, low fat, all of the fad things that they want you to not pick up the container or the bottle or the bag and flip it around and become a label lover, a label reader, to be a savvy shopper, as Dr. Miller alluded to earlier. We have to educate ourselves and really understand that the food companies are really marketing, front label marketing to you, to the hurried shopper, to the busy shopper, to the not so savvy shopper. They're, because you want to cut back on your fat or you want to cut back on your sugar, they are marketing to that and then hiding all of those artificial and processed things inside of the ingredients to make up for what they want you to believe they have removed. And so I want you to avoid the crappy food. Instead, I want you to take just a few more minutes and eat some crow. I want you to eat some clean, raw, organic, and whole foods. Those are the foods that, as I said before, are found along the perimeter. The foods that you have to put in a bag yourself. The fruits and the vegetables that you typically have to look at to see if they're ripe enough to deserve to be cooked up or eaten by you. Those are the foods that really deserve your time and attention. And those are the foods that your body deserves to thrive off of. And so that means kicking out the fries and eating some veggies instead, kicking out the candy and eating some fruit instead. They're both colorful, just one isn't so great for you, whereas the other one is. And that might mean dropping off the soda, not doing that, but maybe doing some lemon water. If you need the fizz, get you some seltzer lemon water. And so it's just a matter of you embracing those healthy swaps to kick out the crap and embrace the crow. Okay. And so that's the N for the inside. The S is going to be your self-care. Now, Cherie is the self-care master, I told you, and the recharge strategist. And so she'll sign off on this. I'm going to just drop you 3 S's. And so for this, it's slow down. You know, our fast-paced society has kind of drilled in us that the busier you are, the more successful you are, the better you are. And I want you to subscribe to the slow down method. I want you to slow down and really, you know, as we say, smell the roses. I want you to slow down and take it all in, because if we're not present with ourselves, we miss the signs. And in order for you to be present and in order for you not to miss the signs, you've got to slow down. The second S part of that is share. And so this is where we relax, relate, and release, right, Cherie? This is where we share. So I want you to tell somebody if you are struggling. I want you to tell someone if you are feeling overwhelmed, you know, if you're feeling taxed out, if you've said yes to too many projects, if you're wearing too many hats, if your roles and responsibility are more overwhelming than what your demand, or you have more demand than what you have capacity. So share that. Don't get to a place where you're so stressed out. And then the last part of that self-care, like Cherie said, is not about getting your nails done and your toes done. That's all good. The last S is I want you to get some sleep. We have got to recharge our insides and our internal by getting that good old sleep, not just laying down to get rest. I want you to get some sleep. And the only way we get that is if we get into what's called REM sleep, which is rapid eye movement. If you wake up tired, you didn't go to sleep. You were asleep, you didn't go to sleep, you might have rested, but if you wake up tired, you didn't get your full 8 hours of really good, productive sleep, where we get into that dreamy state, where your body is in a relaxed state, where your cells are regenerating, where you're losing weight. You don't get to that part, you're not asleep. Dr. Miller talked about there. A lot of processes happen when we go to sleep. Not eating a heavy meal before bed so that your organs are allowed to actually relax while you're sleeping. So getting that good quality sleep. So the I in inside is initiate. So I want you to initiate your plan. Any plan that you come up with from the things that you hear tonight, I want you to think about, what does that look like? How can you initiate your plan? What tools will you need? What support will you need in order to be successful with that plan, right? Because we might all have this grandiose, you know, idea and plan that, you know, by the end of summer, I want to, you know, lose 15 pounds, or I want to fit in this 2-piece bathing suit, or the little black dress, or your, you know, your white dress for an all white party, or whatever your goal that you may have in mind, but you really don't have a plan that's specific to you, nor do you have the support to get it done. And so oftentimes it will fail before it even begins. And so we have to initiate an effective plan that, with you in the center of it, with you in mind, and to make sure that you have the right support around you so that that plan is effective and you get the outcome or the goal that you are attempting to achieve. Now, the D in inside is twofold. It's for you to delegate and decide so that you can initiate that plan. And so my good friend and Cherie's twin power, Cheryl Wood, always talks about this: do, delegate, or delete. We carry around a lot of stuff that we either know that we can't get to and probably shouldn't be doing anyway. So we either should delegate that off to someone else, delete it altogether, you know, because it's something that we've been carrying around or we don't need to do it, or just go ahead and simply do it. So do, delegate, or delete. And then in that, you have to decide. You're not the only person that can make your bed properly. You're not the only person in your household that can, you know, maybe do the dishes, or, you know, play taxi, or, you know, be the financier of the household, you know, all those roles and responsibilities and hats we wear. Decide who else amongst you that you trust that you can delegate some of those responsibilities to, so that they don't all fall on you, because you don't have to be the only one doing that. And yes, I know sometimes when we delegate these things off, they're not necessarily going to be done the way that we would do them, But guess what? Guess what? Nobody ever died because your bed wasn't made with the, the ply fold at the end, and the comforter wasn't pulled quite tight, or, the dishes being done and that they all had to be put back the perfect way that you possibly would do them. It's just one less thing that you have to do, right? As you're trying to initiate this plan so that you can reach this goal, and then show up and be a better version of yourself so that you can then show up and be there for the rest of your family. And then the last E in inside is, I want you to exhale and exercise. Huh, you thought you was going to get away with not doing any kind of physical movement? Wrong. So exhale and exercise. So I want you to do whatever makes you feel good. Now, exercise to me always has to be something that you enjoy, that you can embrace, and that can be fun. I typically like to tell my clients, don't even call it exercise, call it movement, call it, something different, whatever you want, because oftentimes our brain will just think, oh, exercise, I'm resistant to it, can't do it, I'm allergic to it, don't want to do it, right? So if we say move, and that could simply be you dancing, I want you to do something that raises your heart rate and allows you to get to a point where you cannot hold a full conversation. That tells me that you've kicked your heart rate up enough and that you've got your body into this fat burning zone. So if it means turning on the music loud and that you're just doing a dance with your kids, your grandkids, your spouse, your significant others, some friends, maybe it means just doing a power walk in your neighborhood. Maybe it means walking from the top level of your home to the bottom level, grabbing some laundry and bringing that back up. Whatever you need to do to move, to raise your heart rate and say to your body, I love you, I embrace this, and I want this to be an inside job that I am now winning at because I have an internal recharge going on. So that's how we internally recharge. It starts from the inside, and it allows you to do all of those things that I just identified. And so, Cherie, I want to take this opportunity now just to share with them, if you need a village, if you have a opportunity to start this, but you don't know where. If you feel like if you had some accountability, you would begin. If you feel like you had some support, you would know how to just say yes and kind of click and commit. I want to just briefly share with you my VIP village, and it's called the Women's Wellness Lounge VIP community. And you can simply visit it by going to my website at DelaynaWatkins.com. And so the VIP community is real health, real wellness, and real results. We'll have monthly discussions, monthly forums, your voice, your concerns. It's a wellness community that focuses on creating a healthy way to do life. All of those things that I just described to you is within reach. You can do it. It's an inside job. And I would absolutely love for you to become part of this community. The accountability is there. The coaching is there. The forums are there. And we would love to have you. Just go to DelaynaWatkins.com and join our community today. And we would embrace you to get that internal recharge. Cherie M. Good, Dr. Cherie M. Good, the recharge strategist. That's my time. I'm Delayna Watkins, the wellness maven, and it has been my pleasure to share with you some tips on how you can internally recharge.
Yes, 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 absolutely. That's 3 snaps up for her, y'all. She was on fire, right? So I was sitting here taking notes. So I think I know some things, but I'm learning today as well. So I hope you have your pen and paper ready. She did an inside job on us, right? So we're talking about an internal recharge. So she said that I for inside, that's that inside job. Healthy starts on the inside. N is that nutrition. Cut the crap, eat the crow. S is for self-care. You got to slow down, share, and sleep. The I is initiate a plan. If you don't have a self-care plan, if you don't have a wellness plan, you got to get started. D is delegate and decide. E is exhale and exercise. Whatever it is that makes you feel good, that's what you're going to do. For mind, body, and spirit, you're going to have your internal recharge. So thank you so much, Delayna. Oh my goodness. Make sure you look her up, DelaynaWatkins.com. That's Delayna, Watkins, Watkins, DelaynaWatkins.com. We are just moving along. I hope you guys are appreciating this free masterclass. We have another dynamic speaker that's coming up next. Dr. David Banks. Let me pull up his bio because it's fire, and I got to make sure I represent him well. So Dr. David Banks, he is the president of Noble Success Strategic Group. He's a certified speaker, certified professional trainer, and a wholeness and success coach and author. He, as a professional coach, he specializes in relationship development, success development, leadership development, and motivation and purpose discovery. He speaks to government leaders, ministry leaders, and corporate leaders. He's a global speaker who empowers people to discover their inner greatness, to conquer their doubts so they can dominate. I like that word. So they can dominate in their life. Without further ado, I give you Dr. David Banks.
Dr. Cherie, you're wonderful. Thank you so much, Delayna. Wow, nice, nice. Well, awesome. Well, I'm excited to be on this platform and just really sharing. Dr. Miller did an excellent job. I have a chiropractor. I know the importance of having that person in your life. And Delayna, man, you were stepping on my toes, you stepping on my toes. But hey, I'm gonna take away. I'm gonna throw that crap away. All right, I'm gonna throw that crap away and start getting some crow. Awesome. Well, like I said, I'm excited to be here, and what I want to talk about is getting your power back. Getting your power back and how to win from within. I'm Dr. David Banks. I empower people to succeed from within so that they can dominate in their purpose. I am a purpose discovery specialist, and truly an honor to be able to help people all over the world really understand their purpose. Now, I want to take some time to really drop some nuggets as well, to really share with you the importance of being, and as Dr. Cherie putting this emphasis out, internally recharged. You should be intentional about being internally recharged by what? By choice instead of by crisis. So many times we wait till a crisis happens and then we're saying, all right, I guess we need to slow down. As Delayna said, I guess we need to get some sleep. My friend, stop waiting for a crisis to happen before you recharge. Do it by choice. I follow Dr. Cherie. I'm a huge fan of hers. Make Me Over Wellness. She's just doing a great job. Why? Because she's bringing that, keeping that on the forefront. Make that a choice, because I'm sure you all have to understand when it turns to a crisis, you're not going to be seeing Dr. Cherie. You're probably going to be seeing intensive care. So it's important that you understand, have this mindset being internally recharged, make it and do it by choice rather than waiting for a crisis. Because look at here, when you go down, guess what? Everything shuts down. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. When you go down, guess what? Everything shuts down. And I know we're in a society where we end up making ourselves the last on the list. We want to take care of everybody else and everything else, and we're on the last end of the list. But my friend, you have to understand, if you go down, everything shuts down. I love this quote. Delayna say, self-care is how you take your power back. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Layla said self-care is how you take your power back. My friend, when you don't take care of you inside and out, you lose your power. Power of what? Power to be everything that you want to be. So it's so important. You have to take care of you. I like this quote. Dr. Cherie, I'm going to let you borrow it. Okay, I'm going to let you borrow this quote. Look at here. Make self-care a lifestyle instead of a perceived luxury option. Ooh, come on. Delayna, if you want to borrow it too, it's all right. Because look at this. When we start thinking about, getting a massage, taking care of ourselves, honey, I can't afford that. That's just too much. Look, I got this and that. See, we make it a luxury option rather than understand we need to make this a lifestyle. So I want you to understand the importance of what all of us are trying to say. Make self-care, taking care of you, make it a lifestyle instead of thinking it's a luxury option. So important to remember. Now, I love eagles. I love eagles. I've studied eagles all my life. And my friend, eagles do something, Delayna and Dr. Cherie, that we as humans need to glean from. On an annual basis, an eagle does four things. The first thing that an eagle does, it gets into solitude. It goes to a high mountain, gets by itself, all right? Get away from everything and everybody. It gets away into solitude. The next thing that it does, it sheds all of its old feathers, breaks its beak. It sheds the old feathers. During that vulnerable time, things grow back. The beak grows back, but guess what? It grows back stronger. The feathers, when they grow back stronger. And then that eagle is able to soar like never before. So I want to know how many of you are ready to get your power back? Come on, somebody. How many of you are ready to get your power back? So I want to share four. I want to share four principles with you of how you can get your power back. My friend, when you do this, you are going to be a force to be reckoned with. So four things that you can do to get your power back, get your strength back, so that you can do everything that you set your mind to. First thing that you have to be willing to do is you're going to have to separate yourself. You're going to have to separate yourself from people. All right. I love visuals, as you can see. My friend, you're going to have to separate yourself from people that's not ready to go where you want to go. All right. My friend, when you take care of you, my friend, you're going to have to separate yourself from people that's not ready to go where you're wanting to go. Also, you're going to have to separate yourself from people that want to stay the same. I need all of you to understand when you internally recharge, you're not going to be the same person as you were before. All right. So you have to realize, hey, you're going to have to separate from people that's hindering you, that's stopping you and moving, that is blocking you from where you're wanting to go. And also, my friend, this is a big one. You're going to have to separate yourself from people that drains you. My friend, you're going to have to just make a decision. Look, I can't. And I always tell people this, stop making other people's emergency your problem. Did you hear me? Did you hear me? Stop making other people's emergency your problem. My friend, we have too many people out there that's being drained by people. And if you want to really take care of you, you got to separate yourself from people that is hindering you. The next thing you're going to have to do, you're going to have to sever some things in your life. First thing, you're going to have to sever some past mistakes. I was a former counselor many years ago, and when people came into my office, one of the biggest issues that they constantly dealt with is past mistakes. They're still holding on to, still allowing those things to drain the life out of them. So you're going to have to take the time to sever and realize the past has happened. You're not ignoring the past, but you need to come to terms. That's exactly what it was. It was the past, and you're all about moving forward. Another thing you're going to have to sever, if you're going to internally recharge yourself at a deeper level, you're going to have to sever people's perception of you. It is so important that you know who you are. When you know who you are, my friend, you are not so heavily weighed on what other people think about you. So you're going to have to get to the point of severing people's perception of you. Also, you're going to have to sever poor habits. Your future success is really predicated on what you do on a daily basis. Everything. As Delayna talked about, your habits, your eating habits. My friend, my friend, you're not going to enter success if you don't feel good, if you're tired all the time. So you're going to have to sever some of your poor habits and then proclaiming through your speech. What is that? My friend, you're going to have to sever some of the ways that you talk about yourself. I'm ugly. I'm dumb. I'll never accomplish this. If you're going to really recharge, you got to sever some of the things that you're saying about yourself. The next, you got to search within. I love what Delayna said. My friend, you got to go inside. It's interesting, that's the last place we go. We go everywhere else, but we don't even take the time to go inside. So you're going to have to search within. And I like this one. What's in you gives you the power to deal with anything that surrounds you. My friend, I like that. I like that. My friend, whatever you are dealing with around you, the key and the source to help you deal with it is inside of you. So never allow anything or anyone prevent you from going deeper inside. My friend, that's your key right there, is what's inside of you. I have a mentor, Dr. Miles Monroe, and he said the greatest tragedy in life is not death, but a life without purpose. Let me talk about purpose. Because my friend, look at this. Your purpose, check this out, Dr. Cherie, your purpose is your internal recharging power source. Look at that. My friend, your purpose is your internal recharging power source. My friend, when I discovered my purpose in 2008, my life totally changed. Before 2008, I was frustrated. I was burnt out, almost nervous breakdown, and just thought life wasn't really worth. But my friend, when I discovered my purpose, my friend, it has just constantly recharged inside of me. All of you have a purpose. Another thing, look at this, is your original reason of why you exist. When I travel the country, I always say we all know when we were born, but very few people know why we were born. Now, knowing when you were born only gets you into the earth, but the quality of how you live is not depending on when you were born, but truly understanding why you were born. My friend, your purpose is your compass to your destiny. I love that. Another one, look at this. It moves you from the present to what seems impossible. My friend, you are walking around with your power source inside of you, and it can change your present situation into what you may not even think was possible. And then look at this. Once purpose is discovered, opportunities come looking for you. That's how it works, my friend. That's how it works. And then when you understand these principles, when you do each of these, when you search within, when you sever, you get to the level where you can succeed in every area of your life. But there is a condition. You are internally recharged when you allow your potential to move you out of your comfort zone. My friend, that is one sure guarantee that you are recharged is when you're ready to go and step out of your comfort zone. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are some nuggets that I want you to take with you tonight to really understand, like we said at the beginning, do this by choice rather than waiting for a crisis to happen. Separate yourself. Get yourself to a place where you are ready to move forward. Sever those things that have constantly been hindering you. search within inside of you to understand some awesome things inside of you, namely your purpose, and then get ready to succeed. If I can help any of you, I have a program where I do a one-on-one session with you to help you discover your purpose. You can contact me at www.davidlbanks.com. My number 423-508-9642. You can find me on Instagram at Noble Success DB or on my Facebook group, Noble Success Group. So I want to thank all of you so much for this time. Dr. Cherie, thank you for this opportunity. Pleasure to be on the same platform with Delayna. And hey, let's do this. Let's do this. Thank you.
Yes, everybody give him a hand clap. That was amazing. Excellent, excellent job, Dr. David Banks, giving us that internal recharge. I love how you liken what we need to do with ourselves to that of an eagle. An
Yes.
eagle goes into solitude. Sometimes we need to take those moments of silence and do absolutely nothing and be to ourselves so that we can gain that focus, so that we can really hone in on what self work we need to do to be the best version of ourselves possible. Excellent, excellent. That part about shedding, that eagle shedding off its old feathers, but then those new feathers grow back stronger and better than ever, and they're able to soar even better than what they were before. We have to do the self work. We have to do the internal recharging so that now we can be the best version of ourselves, so that we can be stronger, we can be better, we can push forward with our purpose that you were talking about. Your purpose is your recharge box. So
Hey,
you know
that's
how
it.
we're always running around, we'll go to the nearest McDonald's, Starbucks, whatever, because we need that juice.
That's
Your
it.
purpose is your juice.
That's
You
right.
already have everything built inside of you that you need to be everything that you want to be. So I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Dr. Banks. And I loved how you did the separate, serve, search within, and then the last one was succeed. So do the inside work. Delayna even talked about doing that inside work. She used the acronym INSIDE to tell us to make sure we're taking care of ourselves internally. It's not just about looking good on the outside, but it's also about being good on the outside, and everything else is going to fall right into place. If you do the inside work, mind, body, and spirit, everything else is going to fall in place. We're a three-part puzzle. If one piece of that puzzle is missing, is bent, is not being nurtured properly, then the puzzle, you don't see the full picture. You don't get the beautiful picture of what that puzzle is trying to present. So that's the same thing with us. If one piece of us or one part of us is not whole, we need to do that self work to make sure that we can put our puzzle together and we can be the version of ourselves that we truly want to be. So thank you so much, Dr. David Banks. That was amazing. I love your visuals and everything. I love the one with the fish. I love that. I think that's my favorite one. Stop making other people's emergencies your emergency. I
That's
love
right.
that.
That's right.
Because we do have to do self-care first. You can't pour from an empty cup. You should be pouring from in your overflow. So
Excellent.
fill your cup first. What do they say when you're on the plane? If the plane crashes, what are you going to
That's
do?
right.
You're
Put
going
your
to put
mask
your
on.
mask on first. You're
That's
not
right.
going to give somebody else oxygen first and then come back and hope you have enough to survive. So the same thing with giving to others of ourselves. We need to make sure that we're pouring and we're giving to others from our overflow and not from an empty cup. So
Excellent.
thank you. This was super amazing. And
Yes,
then
and
Dr. Miller.
for those quotes he had. He gave
Yes,
us permission, right? He gave us
I should have screenshotted them, Delayna.
right.
Hey, I'll send you the power. I'll send you the PowerPoint. But
Okay, all
hey,
right.
make sure you use that. Make it a lifestyle and
Yep,
not a luxury.
I like
Yes,
that.
Oh
yes.
yeah.
Make it a lifestyle. So a
And
lot
I'm
of times
good at
people,
giving credit when I snag stuff. As you noticed, I gave credit a couple times. Make sure I give you credit.
yeah,
Hey.
like I give Delayna the credit for stealing crap and crow. Like I stole this from Delayna Watkins. I say it every time. So we'll give you your credit, Dr. Banks. And then thank you, Dr. Miller. He had to leave. He's very, very busy, but he gave us those juicy nuggets about vitamin
Oh yeah. Oh
D3 and
yeah.
about weight gain and how 2/3 of Americans are overweight,
Mhm.
especially now because of COVID. A lot of people have those corona pounds. What are you doing to keep your BMI between 19 and 24? So you're not considered overweight or even obese. And then
Right.
he talked about the intermittent fasting, which Delayna, we are fans of intermittent fasting and sugarless living. We have our book that we authored together called Release the Weight Without the Weight. And that's what we're talking about, a
Oh,
guide to
beautiful.
sugarless living and intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting will change your hormonal makeup and everything and help you to lose weight and also just feel healthier. Now, as the recharge strategist, many of you have heard about my 8 recharge pillars of self care. And so I would be remiss if I did not mention the 8 recharge pillars of self care when we're talking about an internal recharge. So the first one is self advocacy. We're speaking up for ourselves, okay? In 2021, if you haven't been speaking up for yourself, now's the time. You want to speak up for yourself, treat others how to treat you by the way that you treat yourself. So if you're loving on yourself and you're performing that daily self-care, then others are going to notice that and they're going to fall in line and treat you the way that you want to be treated. Even if we're talking about our children or our spouse, they will notice the difference of you performing daily self-care. Also with self-advocacy, that means that sometimes you're going to have to say no to others to say yes to yourself so that you can fill your cup. So don't let your cup get totally empty. You need to be refilling your cup constantly. Free refills on self-care. Number 2 is nutrition. Everybody talked about nutrition. Dr. Miller did. Delayna talked about nutrition. With nutrition, you are what you eat. So what you put in is going to display itself on the outside. Like Delayna said, get rid of those chemically refined, altered, and processed foods and get some crow. Get rid of the crap and get the crow, that clean, raw, organic, whole foods that are going to sustain you for a long time. They're going to have your hair, your mind, your body, your everything is going to feel healthy about you. You're going to walk differently. You're going to look differently. You're going to feel amazing when you're doing things to nurture yourself nutritionally. Number 3 is movement. You lose what you don't use. So if you don't move your body and you don't use those muscles, they will atrophy, they will wear away, they will get weak. And when you want to use them, you won't be able to. Have you ever stopped working out for a while and then when you go back to the gym, you are like super sore for days and days and days? That's because your muscles have gotten used to not doing those forms of exercise. So you have to train your body. The only way we train our body is through movement. When you're moving, you're releasing those feel good hormones that's going to give you that internal recharge that we're talking about. It's going to have you feeling happy. You're going to have extra pep in your step because you're moving and releasing those feel good hormones, those endorphins. So moving and movement, like Delayna said, can be fun. It doesn't have to be taxing. It doesn't have to be something that you feel is a duty. You can turn on the music and dance while you're cleaning the house. You can, while you're cooking, you can dance around and move. The whole idea is just to move something. Just don't be stuck and stagnant and sitting still. Number 4, after you've done that movement, you're going to need to relax a little bit. And I do relaxation and meditation together. So 4 and 5, typically I do together. Sometimes we need those moments of stillness. And it's so amazing how all of these experts, we all are in the same line of thoughts because our messages are intertwining. So like Dr. David Banks talked about that solitude. So that's the same thing with relaxation and meditation, taking those moments of stillness just to be, to stay in that moment and really just focus on yourself. You gain refocus, you gain clarity, you come up with your next best ideas. You actually feel more relaxed, you feel less stressed, you feel a sense of peace over you when you take moments, even if it's just 10 minutes a day, to simply sit, relax, and do nothing at all. No TV, no radio, no gadgets, just you plugging into your purpose, like Dr. Banks told us, to be whole. So if you take time every day, you should be on your own calendar, on your own schedule, me time, internal recharge, recharge time, self care, whatever you want to call it. You should be the first thing on your calendar every single day. Everything else should come after you nurturing and caring and loving on yourself. Numbers 6 and 7, forgiveness and healing. Again, our messages are intertwining because we know what we're talking about, the internal recharge. You got to do that self work. Forgive others, forgive yourself. Sometimes it requires you to forgive yourself for things that maybe you are not happy with, decisions that you made in your life. Sometimes somebody's done something to us many, many years ago, and we're still holding on to it. And we probably can't even remember the details behind what they did that made us so upset, and we're still holding on to it. Well, it's up to us how long we let what hurt us haunt us. It's up to you how long you let what hurt you haunt you. And it truly does haunt you because it's getting rent free in your mind, in your body. When you're holding on to things and not truly forgiving, you cannot heal. And as long as you're not healing, what that means is that you're holding on to it and it's actually silently killing you whether you know it or not. It's like dumping a slow poison into your veins. And over time, it just wears away at you mentally, physically. It's like a slow poison. So now is the time to do things to forgive yourself and to forgive others. If it's not going to matter 5 years down the line, don't waste 5 minutes on it. Make that your motto. Write that somewhere. Somebody write that down. You hear me? Write it down. If it's not going to matter 5 years down the line, stop wasting more than 5 minutes on it. It's okay to be upset at something someone did and also have mercy for other people. Remember, we're all imperfect. So we all, at some point or another, need someone's forgiveness. So I know there are categories of forgiveness, or categories of offenses and hurts that people may do to us, but think to yourself, would I want to be forgiven for that same type of offense that I'm angry with someone else about? So before you can heal, you have to forgive. So every day work on forgiveness, and you truly will heal once you can call to memory less and less what it was that hurt you. Last but not least, after you have adopted all the 8 or the 7 recharge pillars of self-care, number 8 is you're going to celebrate. You're going to celebrate the fact that you did the self-work. You spoke up for yourself. You're eating healthy, you're moving, you've healed because you've forgiven yourself and others. You've meditated. You're taking every day a moment out of each day just to focus on you and be silent and relax and have your solitude so that you can come back soaring even stronger and better than what you were before. That's a celebration. That's a cause for celebration. That celebration can be the things that we talked about early, like going getting your nails done and pampering yourself and getting a massage, or even going out and taking a break from that intermittent fasting and going to get a meal that maybe you wanted to treat yourself to. So however you feel like you want to celebrate yourself. So often we find ourselves just going and going about our day-to-day activities, but we never stop to look at, wow, this is what I accomplished. Well done to myself. So we don't always need the accolades from other people. Sometimes we need to recognize our worth ourselves. So celebrate all your accomplishments and everything you've done to truly nurture yourself and plug into your powers, your purpose, and done the internal recharge. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in this evening. We just wanted to come and bring you some juicy nuggets from our professionals, Dr. David Banks at the bottom here, Delayna Watkins over on my left, and Dr. Miller had to step off, but Dr. Douglas Miller, a chiropractor. And I will make sure that I type in everybody's contact information, or they will type their contact information in the feed so that you can know how to contact each one of these experts. Thank you to Dr. Banks and Delayna Watkins for your time this evening and pouring into our audience and giving them an internal recharge. I am Dr. Cherie M. Good, better known as the Recharge Strategist. And you can reach me on all your social media sites at Cherie M. Good. And on the web, I am totalharmonyenterprises.com and Make Me Over Wellness. Everybody have a great night and don't forget to recharge. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.